Oh, hello there. I'm William Faulkner. Thank you for joining me today. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my book, As I Lay Dying. This book is all about perspective. Perspective becomes the way a story is told, and through varying perspective, one event can be conveyed in many different ways. Thus, it can be shown that one event occurs in a different place for the journey of each character. In the first scene of the book, Cash Bundren is building a coffin for his dying mother. Let's explore, shall we?
Let's look first into the story of Ance Bundren, the father.
Look at Cash, over there with his saw, cutting up wood like he owns the place. He's forgetting his roots. He never would have gotten there if I hadn't worked all my life to provide for him. He's forgetting that. During that road, my own son saw him the coffin for his mother. He has no respect for the things that brought him here. This is truly my darkest hour.
What did you notice in this section? Here, you have Ance complaining about the younger generation, specifically Cash, a symbol of industrialization and change. Ance sees this as his darkest hour, because he is being disrespected by his son, as well as society. Speaking of which, let's hear what Ance has to say about the rest of society.
Did you ever know him to set a road down by a house? No, you never, because it's always men can't rest till they get the house set where everybody that passes in a wagon can spit in the doorway, keeping the folks restless and wanting to get up and go somewhere else when he aimed for them to stay put like a tree or a stand of corn.
This is key. Ance is here saying that he stands strongly against progress and movement. This further displays that Ance feels he is being subjected to the most difficult challenges of his life, as he sees the masses moving toward urban centers and thinks that humanity is headed for the worst. For Ance, this is the point of near defeat for his character. We'll look next at Cash Bundren, the carpenter.
You ready?
This is my pride and joy. I will complete this coffin. This is my task that I have been put in charge of, and I will complete it. I must continue sawing this wood, shape the boards, and nail together to complete the coffin. This is what is happening. Everything else is a distraction. Sawing the wood and making the boards to make the coffin.
I made it on the bevel.
In this situation, Cash should be concerned about his dying mother, but instead is simply concerned with completing the coffin. For Cash, this scene is the part of the story in which he is successfully completing a task. He has been confronted with a challenge, and he is now completing it. Thus his narration takes a very unemotional and completion mindset. Let's take a look at what happens when Cash is confronted with an emotional situation. His dying mother just waved to him, and he blew her off to continue working on her coffin. This is the epitome of a completion mindset. This is necessary for this step in the journey of Cash, the conquering of the obstacle. To him, the obstacle and great challenge has very little to do with his dying mother. Therefore, while this is Ance's darkest hour, this scene in which he is building the coffin is the moment of greatest achievement for Cash. Let us next go on to talk about Cora, the wife of the next door neighbor. Cora is difficult to talk about because she doesn't necessarily change throughout the book. However, she is integral to this scene, because she shows the outsider perspective of the Bundren shenanigans. An outsider perspective is key in understanding an event entirely.
Oh, Bundrens, what a family that is. Why can't they just be normal like the rest of us? They're always fussing and fighting amongst themselves and creating an awful ruckus. I wonder what they're getting into now. She is propped on the pillow with her head raised so she can see out the window, and we can hear him every time he takes up the adze or the saw. If we were deaf, we could almost watch her and hear him, see him.
Cora, an outsider, is seeing Addie's pain. She talks about Addie's face reflecting the blows to the wood by Cash. This shows that the story is about to unfold. For Cora, these Bundren shenanigans are the status quo. This means the story is at its beginning. Also, she is one of the only characters viewing this scene that understands how cruel Cash is being to Addie. From this outsider view, she is criticizing not only Cash, but also Ants, because he is doing a poor job of running his family. But does she really have Addie's best interests at heart? Let's look deeper.
First thing we know, she'll be baking again, and then we won't have any sale for us at all.
Cora is not truly sympathetic for Addie. Even as Addie is about to die, all that Cora can think about is her own selfish needs. Cora often talks about the importance of religion and how riches is nothing in the face of the Lord, yet she is still overly concerned with riches herself. Her selfishness is typical of the characters in this book. Also, the idea that her deathly illness is temporary reinforces the idea that Cora sees this situation as the status quo at which all stories begin. Finally, let's look at Addie, the Bundren mother herself.
I hate you all. You are all awful. Cash, what are you doing? Stop this. Stop sawing my coffin. Ants, you are the worst husband that ever did be.
Ants. Why ants? Why are you ants?
Addie clearly does not love her husband. She simply married him out of lack of options. This is fair, because Ants is more concerned with his own affairs and selfish desires than Addie's death. Even though it is excusable, Addie is selfish, just like the rest of the characters, as she is only concerned with how much she dislikes her family. But where does this scene fall in Addie's character journey? Let's look at another part.
When the switch fell, I could feel it upon my flesh. When it welted and ridged, it was my blood that ran. And I would think that with each blow of the switch, now you are aware of me.
This quote from Addie is indispensable in placing this event along her character's timeline. She is referencing beating her children, and how this was the one form of power she had in order to make herself heard and relevant in the Bundren house and in the world. However, she uses the phrase, "when the switch fell," which of course primarily refers to a switch used to hit people, but secondarily refers to the light switch that controls her life. And I know this because I am William Faulkner. When this light switch falls, or turns off, she makes people aware of herself. Therefore, this scene is, for her, a time of preparation to make her great action on the world to make everyone aware of her. This action is the revenge taken by her against the Bundrens, as they have many difficulties in the journey they make to her burial ground. Thus, in the timeline of Addie, this scene is an arming, a preparation for battle.
Thank you for visiting us today. I hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as I have. Have you learned some valuable lessons about perspective? Specifically, do you feel you have a better understanding of how one event, which takes place at one specific point in time, can take place in a different time along the timeline of each character who views the event? I hope so. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to have this talk. Hope to be seeing you again soon.
If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?